Hello everyone, and welcome to Divine Debut. This is Kathy speaking. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support always. I thought I would catch up with you with an Astro update. Of course, I will be doing a divine spread for the weekend, but that will be in the next few hours. I thought we're just moments before a full moon in Virgo, which will be happening at 8:19 UTC time. Okay, so I've actually put the chart at the full moon in Virgo, which will be happening at the 8th degree and 57 minutes, almost 9th degree. I thought I would catch up with you and let you know what kind of a full moon this is and what's going on with it. So a full moon, we know, is always, the moon being right across from the sun. Happy birthday, dear Pisces, as if, your birthday is on the 27th of February of 2021, having a full moon here for you, especially something is of importance and something is completing. Remember that a full moon is always a completion point, but also please remember that the sun reflects its light onto the moon, so anything that you've been in the dark about will be shown. Now, with full moons, we feel the pressure, just like the full moon affects the seas, high tide, low tide. That's how we can feel a little bit of stress, a little bit of anxiety, maybe even quite fearful. Full moons have got that tendency. But a full moon in Virgo, which Virgo signifies health, our daily routine, purity. Virgo is the Virgin. So the Virgin, which is usually depicted holding some wheat in her hand. So there's something about service. That's what Virgo is about. Remember that the acts of service, maybe I feel I need to say, that is provided to humanity, to a certain situation, whatever service Virgo is providing, it's like feeding. It's like feeding someone who needs to be fed, someone that this pure motherly virgin, if we could say, because purity means trust, right? Is feeding, is nurturing, is providing. So providing a service, providing something to do with health, hygiene, that's what Virgo is all about. And remember that Virgo is practical, it's mutable energy, and therefore we need to have our feet planted on the ground. We need to take care of our health, but this is a really good full moon. As the sun is transiting through Pisces, we know that Pisces can also speak of spirituality, but also subconscious, the unconscious, but also that higher mind. Remember, Pisces is ruled by Neptune. So it's the higher mind. It's spiritual, it's godly, it's very creative. Imagine that Poseidon, the god of the seas, Neptune can be very much of an illusion. So even matters of things that we read and that we see that are not real, that are not true, that's what Pisces signifies, especially when we're talking about Neptune. Now the sun is here, it's 12 degrees apart. This full moon is not connected to Neptune, but the sun is on its way to Neptune. So in a couple of weeks, less than a couple of weeks, the sun will conjoin with Neptune. Very dreamy, very good for creative pursuits, anything that we're creating, right? Nevertheless, this is a very positive full moon, everyone, as we know that Pisces is very spiritual, it's very compassionate, it's very unconditionally loving. We've also got Venus here, which is conjoining with the Sun. So again, very loving. If you're creating a project, some of you could be completing it right now. It's very magical. Okay, the Sun transiting through Pisces can be very magical. Venus in Pisces, she loves to be here. Absolutely loves to be here. So she's very nurturing, very loving as well. She gives selflessly. Very creative energies, as we know that even Venus brings value. She brings prosperity. She brings abundance, right? And she's all about what we love, how we love, and whether we give that love out or if we receive that love. So there is something that will be shown in relation to something pure, something magical, something very special that this full moon will be showing us. And it can have to do with matters of health. Remember, Virgo is practical. It's our physical health, our hygiene, what we put into our bodies, so what we feed ourselves, obviously. And Pisces is what we feed our soul with. Okay, how we meditate. Pisces is all about meditation, being able to connect to source. So magical energies here, and I feel we've got a lot of good things happening in the sky right now. What I also wanted to mention is that we have a beautiful connection with Jupiter connecting to, through a trine, over to the North Node in Gemini. We know that Jupiter in Aquarius can be very expansive. Remember that Aquarius is that higher mind. It's ruled by Uranus. And Jupiter is very spiritual. It's all about expanding. And Aquarius are groups and associations. Jupiter is very spiritual indeed. It's very beneficial. He's like flying through Aquarius, and he's connecting through a sextile to the South Node. Now remember that Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and he's connecting with a sextile, which is positive, over to the South Node, which is very helpful energies. Whether Jupiter could pose as a person, someone in a group, someone through the law, someone that is helping this detachment happen. Remember that the South Node is something we should be dropping, leaving, moving away from. So Jupiter helps us, and this could also be spiritual help, divine help, that will help us excrete whatever karma we've been trying to let go of. Remember, Sagittarius, the way we think, our truths, matters of the past, anything to do with old philosophies. And Sagittarius is also about freedom. So with excreting and letting go, with the help of Jupiter, something karmic, and it could be connected to commitments for some of you because Juno is also here. She's also here, so there's a beautiful connection. Remember that in mythology, Jupiter was not faithful to his wife Juno. But I see here that they're connecting through a sextile. So this could be a truce, I suppose, where commitments are concerned. The helpful energies are here, nevertheless. And it's also known that he would visit goddesses and mortals who he had the power to turn into goddesses. So he was very popular, no doubt. Anyway, we've got this full moon that's connecting beautifully to Uranus transiting through Taurus. Okay, so remember that from an earth sign to another earth sign would be a trine. Taurus and Virgo, they're sister signs, so the connection is very flowing, very beautiful. So it's helpful energies with this full moon. Obviously, something will be shown to us in conjunction with Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus in Taurus, logically, this is a money house, but it can also speak of the physical body. As the house of Virgo is also the physical body. So this connection, because Uranus in Taurus can be quite stressful, so there's sort of healing qualities here, okay, with this full moon. So sudden, unexpected news coming through, something being shown that can be quite surprising. That could be also very valuable to others of you. It could be in relation to love. It could be in relation to matters of health. Remember that Uranus is also very scientific. It does rule Aquarius. There could be a scientific breakthrough where health matters are concerned. It's a healing energy, and I feel it's got a lot to do with this pandemic. We're going to have great news coming through, everyone. And remember that Uranus is also about freedom, okay? As Aquarius is a very free energy. You can't put an Aquarian in a box. There's no way. They need their freedom. They need to be able to speak their truth. They need to be able to stand out in a crowd. But they like to also be as part of a group. So the news is good with this full moon. Let's see what else is going on. I mean, Mercury has conjoined with Jupiter as well, and that's an amazing connection here. This will be happening in the next few days anyway. They're close enough now to say that they're conjunct, but the aspect will be exact in about 6 days, so early March. Okay, so remember that Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini, and Mercury is the messenger of the gods. He is conjoining with Jupiter, Jupiter being very spiritual, very expansive, bringing in abundance, good news, justice. Mercury can be the child. There's been a lot of talk about children in the world and what's been going on. I'm sure a lot of you have heard the news. I do feel that the news is good as Mercury is neutral, but connecting with Jupiter is amazing. Now, Mercury, of course, he's like the middleman. He's right in between Saturn and Jupiter. Remember that they could be teachers, but they could also be, remember that Saturn is more karmic, more about traditional things, conservative ways of doing things. It's quite limiting as well, but in Aquarius does give the option of changing things up, bringing new things into old matters or old ways of doing things. So Mercury is the indication. We're talking about the internet, social media, communication. Mercury, Aquarius, the internet. Mercury is the internet as well. The messenger is coming in with wonderful news, I feel here, especially being connected, again, I'm going to say, with the North Node and the South Node. Both Mercury and Jupiter are in fabulous connections here. And it's interesting to see that we've got a connection here. We've got God's finger here. We've got two in conjunctions here. As you can see, these green lines with a K on them. And we've got a sextile. So we've got Chiron, the wounded healer, whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual healing. Remember that Chiron in Aries is the wound of thyself. Chiron, being the glyph of the key, says that there is a solution in healing, maybe spiritually, maybe physically, healing that open wound of thyself, of any new beginnings, because the Aries it's the seed that we plant, just like in the tarot. We've got the Fool card. There's helpful energies here with this sextile from Chiron. Remember that Chiron was a child born from Saturn. So the sun, the centaur, the weird half man, half horse that came into life, Saturn's son, who was put aside as he was not good enough to be shown, and therefore his wounds, he had quite a few wounds. Through healing himself, he became the medicine man. So we're talking about medicine now. Medicine, right? Healing. So it's connected to Saturn. With Saturn in Aquarius, new ways of doing things, as I said. Remember that Aquarius is also the higher mind. It's that eagle that has the 2020 vision. So that's what's going on here. Beautiful sextile helping close up a certain wound, and it's pointing to this full moon. So this is called a yod in astrology, but it's also called the finger of God. So the focus is on the full moon, everyone. Okay, now Saturn can be tough, he can be limiting, he could be harsh, he could be the finger pointer, or that you've got to do more work, but he can also provide the rewards once the work has been done. All right, now Pluto is ready to change degree, and we know he's an outer planet. Pluto, being an outer planet, is very slow moving. He's ready to move into the 26th degree, so this is a change, moving away from the 25th degree. Now Juno is also connecting to Juno and the South Node. Well, remember, as I was been saying, that Neptune was at 19 degrees 3 months back, and it was squaring over to both the nodes, and we've still got a T-square here, but with Neptune's connection to the nodes are moving, away. So these squares are breaking down. We have had a lot of news, a lot of information, things that were hidden beneath the surface, whether they were hidden from A, B, or C. There's a lot of information that's come through. I'm sure you've all heard the news, things surrounding anything to do with the arts. So actors, actresses, politicians, there's a lot of hidden information that is coming up to the surface, and we've known this, we've been talking about a lot of truths being shown after. Remember that Neptune is the veil, it's the rose-colored glasses transiting through Pisces, and also matters of health and the pandemic. A lot is coming through, a lot of information. So a lot of the news can be quite shocking as well. A lot of revelations that are due to come through so that we can know about them. Because what's the point? I mean, without, that Ace of Swords, the truth, there's no firm foundation. That's why the Tower comes through, and it brings the awakening, it brings the sudden revelations, because things need to shift and change is healthy. Okay, and we've got Pluto in Capricorn beautiful trine over to Mars. Remember that they're both malefic signs, but a trine is a beautiful aspect. It's very flowing and very helpful. Remember that Pluto signifies death and transformation, the death of the old. It's in Capricorn. Remember that Capricorn is all the energies that were happening here, all the conjunction. Remember last year in 2020, Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, the eclipses were here, Mercury was here. This is the break of the old, the breakdown of the old, the patriarchy, everyone. And it's more So now we're moving into the divine feminine taking more charge. Remember that the divine feminine matriarchy, the mother, okay, the mother which nurtures the child, that's what we're moving towards. So the patriarchy is coming down. Things are changing. Money's changing hands, going from A to B. Things are changing. They're not going to be the way things have been in the last so many years. Even that grand conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter, when they conjoined at the end of 2020 in Aquarius, that was the beginning, really, right? In December of 2020, the energies shifted. We know that the world has been under a lot of pressure, and not only has it been the world on a macro scale, but also on a micro scale in our own personal lives. And there is a breakdown. Now, Pluto rules Scorpio, and it's it is trining over to Mars, which also rules Scorpio, but Mars also rules Aries. So a very helpful energy. There's a transformation. Remember that Mars in Taurus, Mars is fire, Taurus is earth. Mars is slow, it's lazy in Taurus. It's like you've got your foot on the pedal and you can't move forward. There is something stopping you, you know. And of course, it could be timing. It's the energies we're working with. I always believe in divine timing, people. Just remember that as Mars will be moving direct, it will ingress into Gemini. Expect lots and lots and loads of information to come through. Loads of conversations. That's what Gemini is. What is Gemini? It's the twins. We're going to be put in a position to make a decision. Will we send out that message? Will we communicate? Will we collaborate with people in our area? Gemini is our environment. It's being close to home. And of course, Gemini is also, it's the student. So it's all about learning. Through conversation, through communication, we're able to create, we're able to learn, and we're able to, as you could see, having the North Node here, move towards what is the path that is shown to humanity, because these are collective energies. Of course, everyone has got Gemini somewhere in their chart, right? Okay, now we've got Venus ready to connect. She's already connecting over to Uranus. As you could see, she's at the 2nd degree of Pisces. And just on that note, I just wanted to mention also that as Jupiter is racing through Aquarius towards, mid-May until end of July, Jupiter will come to the 2nd degree, in Pisces. It will ingress into Pisces, and it will station there and turn retrograde. So roughly mid-May until end of July, Jupiter loves being in Pisces. Just mark this on your calendar. Venus is at that degree now, as we're having this full moon in Virgo. Let's see what Jupiter will bring, as he will be stationed on the 2nd degree of Pisces in the time that I've already mentioned. That's a beautiful break for everyone. From what I know, March and April are amazing months. All the planets are direct, as you could see. Good times ahead, everyone. Mars will be released. That's how I feel Mars feels in the sign of Taurus, because remember that Mars was retrograding in the sign of Aries. So it was held back, and Mars wants to fly. Okay, and he ingressed into Taurus where he doesn't like it. He's in his fall position because he rules Scorpio, so therefore here he's very weak. All right, so, and especially the fact that he conjoined with Uranus recently. We've had a lot of unexpected happenings, a lot of earthquakes, tremors all over the world. We've had volcanic eruptions, all right on point where the astrology is concerned, if you ask me. And I'm glad to hear from many of you that you do recognize that being familiar with your own chart and watching how the planets move in the sky, they do affect worldly matters, the collective, but they also affect our own personal lives. So being familiar with your own chart really does help to show you what is really going on. And look at this, everyone. We've got Chiron trining over to Hygeia, the asteroid of health, in the sign of Leo. Is that amazing or not? Hygeia, which means health in Greek. As you can see, it's also, the symbol reminds us of health, right? So it's trining over to Chiron, beautiful energies. So obviously Chiron in Aries, that seed that we want to plant. Remember that the fifth house of Leo is all about creation. It's the house of children. It's the house of risk-taking. It's the house of fun. So let's just move forward and see. I've just changed the chart so I can go forward. Let's just watch the planets, how they move. Okay, so on the 28th of February, here we are. Okay, we've left that full moon energy. Remember that full moons, from one full moon to the next full moon, of course, it's a whole month, but 2 weeks. The full moon energies last for a couple of weeks until the next new moon, right? So on the 1st of March, here we are. Venus is at 444. That's interesting. That's an angel number. Sextiling over to Uranus in Taurus. So very magical, of course. Venus can mean money, and it is connected to a money house. This could be surprising news, magical, surprising, and unexpected news. A sextile is a beautiful energy. So let's go forward a bit more, as we could see the nodes now have moved to the 15th degree. And Pluto has now entered the 26th degree. Let's see, Mercury is practically on Jupiter. Jupiter is flying through, as I said, this is the 3rd of March. Venus is coming very close to the Sun now. The Sun is coming up to Neptune on the 3rd of March. And Mars is practically ready to ingress into Gemini. There we go. There we go, where on the 4th of March, depending on where you are in the world, of course, as I said, expect lots and lots of news. And we've got beautiful trines from the North Node and sextiles over to the area of Aquarius. Okay, magical energies at this time. We've got also a beautiful trine from Neptune to the moon. Anyway, we know that the moon moves very fast. So roughly around the 4th of March, the moon will be trining over to Neptune. Very dreamy. Pay attention to your dreams as well, everyone. And Jupiter and Mercury. Here we go. Mercury's just jumped over Jupiter on the 5th of March. Mercury's racing ahead. Okay, beautiful celestial energies here. Okay, also, of course, here with the opposition here with Juno. Juno is sort of trying to come out of you know, the conjunction with the South Node. She's moving forward and the South Node is moving backwards. So there's a bit of a T-square here, which still holds a little bit of pressure, but mostly we've got really good news coming through. We've also got on the 5th of March a beautiful grand fire trine, as we could see here, beautiful energies. It's like a, you know, a diamond being formed at the base of a volcano here. A lot of fire. Fire is life, it's creation, right? And it's got to do with an open wound and a healing of that. Remember that the moon is also very motherly. It's also in Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, so even better. Amazing. And as the moon will be trining over to Jupiter and Mercury. Expect amazing news. And I think I will leave it there, dear people, my dear friends. Okay, I do hope that this helped. Okay, and I just wanted to mention before I love you and leave you that there will be a new moon in the sign of Pisces on the 13th of March at the 23rd degree of Pisces. And I just wanted to also add that, of course, with this full moon happening in the sign of Virgo, Virgo is mutable earth. Okay, it's a mutable sign. So we're talking about the mutable cross. Which are the mutable energies, signs? They are obviously Pisces and Gemini and Sagittarius. So the mutable cross are these signs that I've just mentioned. So those of you that have got planets, points at the roughly around the 8th degree, give or take, you know, 2 or 3 degrees on each side, if your sun is there or your Venus is there, it affects you personally, okay? So obviously it affects Pisces and Virgo, and of course those of you that are Sagittarian, others of you that are Gemini, you are being squared. So Sagittarius and Gemini, they are being squared by this full moon. A square means I'm turning a corner, I need to change something. So that's important to mention. And obviously, since the full moon will be in Virgo, the new moon will be opposite in Pisces, as it is the Piscean season right now. So dear Pisces, looking forward to your new moon around the 13th. Get ready to send out your wishes. Write them down on a piece of paper and send them out to Spirit. This is for everyone, of course. But it's Pisces' lucky moment with their new moon. On the 13th of March, depending on where you are in the world, I will be back anyway to show you more. I want to thank you all so much. I'd love to hear your comments. What's been happening in the world, in your country? What's been happening? We've had snow recently in Greece. Now we're just coming out of that. Spring is just around the corner. The equinox is on the 20th of March, which is coming up. So there is a change of seasons, and usually with a change of seasons, it's as though we're coming out of hibernation, especially in the northern hemisphere. The flowers are starting to bloom. Life is taking on new meaning. Those of you that are in the southern hemisphere, I know that you don't have for most of you, you don't have a very harsh winter, so you could be happy to be leaving the summer, as I know down under in Australia it can get very hot in the summer. In Australasia, nevertheless, so in that area. Now, I think that's it for the time being, everyone. As I said, I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your news. Thank you all for your emails. I do have recurring clients that have become friends. They write to me. I appreciate you all sending my love, my blessings, and wishes to all of you. And thank you for those of you that are very patient with your own personal readings. As you know, I'm usually roughly on time. When I promise, I like to deliver. So again, thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I will be back. Enjoy that full moon. And March readings are practically up. Some are up, and the other ones I'm working on them. So thank you again, everyone. Love and light. Talk to you soon. Ta-da.